I bet I know what you're saying right now. If you're a fan of Star Trek or the Flintstones, you're probably shaking your head saying, no way, there was never a crossover of any sort between the Flintstones and Star Trek. Not even the animated version. And in a way, you're right. But you know what? In another way, you're completely mistaken. Give me a couple of minutes and I'll do my best to fill you in on the details. Before I get going, however, I've got to give credit where credit is due, and in this case, the idea for this video came from an article in the July 2022 edition of Retro Fan magazine. In that issue, there is an article by Scott Shaw that provides a fun and very detailed history of post-Pebbles cereal. Folks, this is the kind of article that makes Retro Fan such a great magazine. I can't think of any other publication where an article like this would exist. Anyway, the article tells the story of how post-Sugar Rice Crinkles, a C-list player in the world of cereals for sure, became the juggernaut that is Cocoa and Fruity Pebbles. And of course, part of the reason for the success of the rebranded cereal is the licensing agreement that Post has with Hanna-Barbera, the creators of the Flintstones. I think most of us can remember the Pebbles cereal commercials featuring the Flintstones that ran on Saturday mornings. And while the first few commercials had Fred and Barney enjoying the cereal together, after a few years, the storyline for these commercials incorporated an ongoing theme of Barney trying to trick Fred into giving up his cereal. And as I think we all remember, part of the trickery, the deception if you will, was Barney using various disguises, and this, my friends, is where Star Trek comes into the picture. In one particular commercial, Barney disguises himself as Mr. Spock and rigs up a Stone Age version of a transporter to fool Fred into thinking that the Vulcan was on a quest for something deliciously chocolatey. Something like Cocoa Pebbles. Now the interesting thing about this commercial is that Fred seems to know who Mr. Spock is. And get this, he actually asks to be beamed on board the Enterprise. He calls the ship out by name, as if somehow this Stone Age serial leader is aware of these interstellar voyagers. Now, from what I gather reading the article, when the commercial was being created, the team responsible wasn't planning on licensing the character of Mr. Spock for the commercial. They were just going to have Fred call Barney Mr. Rock instead. And like was often done on the Flintstones, the character was going to be more of a parody. However, for whatever reason, the legal experts felt like it would be better to work with Paramount and license the character. So just having Fred mention Mr. Spock in the Enterprise cost the commercial creators a whopping $50,000. And you know what? For that kind of money, I'm going to call it a legitimate crossover. Now stick around. In less than a minute, I'll show the entire commercial and you can judge for yourself. But first, let me just again mention Retro Fan magazine. In addition to the article on Pebbles cereal, the July 2022 issue has a great article on Julie Newmar, the Monkey Mobile, and Filmation's Tarzan of the Apes cartoon series. I'm not sponsored by the magazine, but I will post a link to get a copy in the description field of this video if you're interested. But now, as promised, here is the commercial.
Watch me trick Fred out of his Cocoa Pebbles.
Mr. Spock!
My search for something super chocolatey has led me here.
Must be my delicious Cocoa Pebbles.
Fascinating.
They're yours if you take me on the Enterprise.
Mega chocolatey taste.
Feed me up. Dino? Barney, my Pebbles!
Warp speed ahead.
Post Cocoa Pebbles cereal, part of this nutritious breakfast.
Growing up, I really loved Star Trek the Animated Series, and truthfully, I'm glad that no Flintstone, or Rubble for that matter, ever found their way on board the Starship Enterprise. That would have been just a bit too silly for me. I am also a huge fan of Leonard Nimoy. And I've got another video about him that I think you'll really enjoy. There it is. Go ahead and click on it. I'm pretty much done here. Thank you so much for watching.